Since 1970, Jack Mack Tire has served customers throughout Tuscaloosa, Northport, and surrounding areas. Their car service ranges from maintenance such as oil changes to repairs of brakes, shocks, car batteries, and wheel alignment. They are open Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. right here in Tuscaloosa. Go by and check them out today at 2107 9th Street in downtown Tuscaloosa. This is the Sting. Coming up on this edition, we are going to look at the first bowl game featuring an SEC team that is tonight at 8 o'clock on ESPN. We are going to be joined by Olin Buchanan to talk about the Texas Bowl between Texas A&M and Oklahoma State. Plus, we will be joined by Chris Lee to talk about the other SEC bowl games. We've got a lot to cover, so guys, let's get things rocking and rolling.
Hi, this is Tim Brando with a reminder. Those of you on Tide 100.9, look out. You're about to feel the buzz of Stingray.
This is Stephen Ray, a.k.a. Stingray, coming to you live from Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
I'm Heath Hopkins. I'm here in DeSoto County, Mississippi, right outside of Memphis, Tennessee. You know, Mark, I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you feel that responsibility to pay it forward and give some kid a chance coming up in the ranks, kind of like Tony did for you?
Why do you think I'm talking to Stingray tonight?
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
No, I mean, look, no.
Hey, Stingray, here's the deal. When you get involved with Texas, it's like getting married to a stripper. and let me explain this. It looks good, kind of sexy on the surface. Yeah, but then you get the baggage, you get the drama, you get all that eventually comes with it. And that's what you get with Texas, and that's what the Big 12 learned.
And Heath, any thoughts on our show moving forward?
Hey, to everyone in Tuscaloosa listening here on Tide 100.9. With the Stingray Show, if you don't like it, you better learn to love it, because it's the best show going today, baby. Woo! Steven, I got breaking news. Boom! That's right, man. We got a new sponsor, and it is huge.
That is correct. Extreme Fireworks right here in West Alabama, and Coker, just 3 minutes west of the Northport Super Walmart, is our December sponsor for the Stingray Show.
And this is not like a pop-up tent or a stand somewhere. They carry 10 more times the stuff as those guys do. This is a year-round store, Stephen, and they've got 450 unique fireworks. Stephen, if I said we're shooting off 450 fireworks tonight, that's a fun night, and you can get that with them.
That's correct. They are open Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. until 6 p.m. Once again, that is Extreme Fireworks, just west of the Northport Super Walmart, 3 minutes from that location. And Heath, come by the store and mention the Stingray Show to receive a free firework valued at $25. No purchase necessary.
That is a free firework worth $25 just mentioning the Stingray Show. Hey, if you're having an end of the year party, you're getting engaged, you want to celebrate with your baseball or softball team, your Boy Scout, Girl Scout troop, get the sparklers, get the smoke bombs, get something fun, get something that they will enjoy and that everyone will remember, because it's a big booming time.
And that is Extreme Fireworks, the official sponsor of the Stingray Show. And ladies and gentlemen, with all of that, we want to welcome you inside the Hump Day edition of the Stingray Show. Hope all is well with you guys. And Heath, did you happen to see what happened yesterday during the day?
I did not.
We had the only 5-7 football team play yesterday in the Quicken Lanes Bowl at 1 o'clock. They were able to get in because of their grade point average this season. That is the Minnesota Golden Gophers. And Heath, the 5-7 Minnesota Golden Gophers made it count as they won their 7th straight bowl game over Bowling Green yesterday by a score of 30-24 up there in Detroit. And now they are 5-0 in bowl games under PJ Fleck. So congratulations to the Minnesota Golden Gophers for getting into a bowl game at 5-7 and making it count.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of PJ Fleck. I did see their opening touchdown and them go for 2 on some gimmick extra point play. But, good for those guys. I always enjoy watching the 5-7 teams play because they come in there with a chip on their shoulder and they want to make some noise and they want to prove everybody wrong. They're definitely more focused, it seems like. So good for those guys. I'm a huge fan of PJ Fleck. I remember when Mississippi State was making a change and went to Joe Moorhead, I was hoping they would interview PJ Fleck. And he had a monster year that year. He got a crazy contract. PJ Fleck, I think, is one of the better coaches in college football. He just has a problem getting the talent to Minnesota like every other coach before him.
Yeah. So, Heath, I do want to also mention briefly that not only tonight do we have Texas A&M versus Oklahoma State, we also have a game that kicks off immediately after us at 7 o'clock on Fox Sports. Louisville versus USC in the Holiday Bowl. And Heath, we are going to get a look at the new USC team without Caleb Williams in this game. He opted out last, I would say, probably about a month ago now. And so USC will be without Caleb Williams. And now we get to see what they look like in the future without Caleb Williams.
Yeah, and the other thing about USC that some fans may or may not know here in the SEC, the all-time leading receiver from the SEC, Woody Marks, a running back who played Mike Leach's air raid system. Mm-hmm. He played this past year at Mississippi State. He spent the previous 4 years at Mississippi State. Didn't like the new coaching hire, didn't like how last season went. He's going to be the starting running back for Southern Cal next year. He won't play in the bowl game. But just shocked me that, everyone wanted to hate on Will Rogers. He'll be the starting quarterback for the Washington Huskies next year. And, I never thought Woody Marks got his props in the SEC. Definitely thought he should have been an all-SEC back. And, for goodness sake, Stephen, he's the all-time SEC leading receiver.
Yes.
All time in the entire history of the SEC. And never made an all-SEC team. But Woody's going to be the running back there at Southern Cal next year. And, hey, this past season, the season before, you had Dylan Johnson, the backup running back behind Woody Marks. He was the starting running back this season for the Washington Huskies and was the MVP of the Pac-12 championship game. So, hey, Mississippi State has turned into the AAA for the Pac-10.
So, Heath, I do want to also mention that tomorrow on Thursday, there are no SEC games. The SEC will pick back up on Friday with 2 games. One will be at 11 a.m., Clemson versus Kentucky in the Gator Bowl. And then that evening, like we talked about yesterday, the Goodyear Cotton Bowl is Missouri and Ohio State. So once again, Texas A&M plays this evening. And then, of course, Clemson, Kentucky on Friday. And Missouri takes on Ohio State also on Friday evening.
Yeah, there's a lot of shell teams playing right there, both sides, in the SEC and outside the SEC. It's going to be interesting to see how those games go, Stephen. It'll be fun watching them. It'll be fun to have some SEC football going on again. But, yeah, it's not the same team that we saw during the regular season.
And then, of course, I should also mention on Saturday, there are 3 SEC teams in action. You've got Ole Miss versus Penn State. You've got Auburn versus Maryland. And finally, you've got Georgia versus Florida State.
Watch for Ole Miss to really try to dominate that game. Of course, every team goes out and tries to win. James Franklin always has a good squad. But watch for Ole Miss to make a massive statement for next season, trying to get some of the voters' attention this year in the last bowl game. Watch for Ole Miss try to make a very big statement. If Lane Kiffin can run up the score, he will.
So, Heath, on that note, we got to take our first break, and when we come back, we are going to be joined by Southeastern 14's own Chris Lee to talk about the bowl season for the SEC. That's on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Stingray Show. We will be right back.
Now, this hour's West Alabama real-time news update from the Tuscaloosa Thread Newsroom.
A fatal shooting occurred in the Greene County city of Utah on Christmas Day. Utah PD reports that a male died of wounds suffered around 6:45 p.m. Monday. The victim apparently knew the suspect. That suspect is in custody. The tasing of handcuffed Micah Washington in the Pickens County town of Reform has prompted State Senator Marika Coleman to file a bill that would prohibit officers from tasing anyone in restraints. And United Way of West Alabama is celebrating. They surpassed their $4.5 million goal for 2023.
Get 24/7 local news coverage and sports updates when you download the free Tuscaloosa Thread app and sign up for twice daily email newsletters.
Are you guys looking for a secondary loan, a small business lending, or a consumer loan? Then let me tell you about the Bank of Moundville, established way back in 1907. The Bank of Moundville, located in downtown Moundville, Alabama, is a full-service bank with lending as a premium right now. You can contact the Bank of Moundville, 205-371-2227. Once again, that is 205-371-2227. They are a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender. Do you guys have a lake or pond that you own but you don't know your fish population? Then you need to contact Honey Hole Fisheries right here in Tuscaloosa County, because they offer fish population analysis to give you a detailed look at how many fish you have in your pond or lake. They can also help you build the pond or lake of your dreams. Contact Honey Hole Fisheries and Jeff Bagwell at 205-799-0192 and let Honey Hole Fisheries design or create the lake of your dreams. Do you guys dream about owning a home or a condominium down on the beautiful beaches of Alabama, say Orange Beach, Gulf Shores, or maybe even Fairhope? Then let me tell you about First Class Real Estate South Home Group's owner, Celeste Hagler. She has brokers down there in the beautiful beaches of Alabama to help you purchase the home of your dreams and to live where you love in the state of Alabama. You can contact Celeste Hagler at 205-861-5698. Contact Celeste Hagler today to help you live where you love in the state of Alabama. Welcome back inside the Stingray Show. Hope all is well with you guys. Our guest coming up is going to be from Southeastern 14. We usually have him on quite often during the football season, Mr. Chris Lee. Chris, how are you doing, my friend, and how was your Christmas, man?
Oh, my Christmas was fantastic. I've got kids who are still old enough to appreciate it, and I think that's just the fun watching them open.
It is.
The stuff that, especially I've got one who loves, a 9-year-old who just loves baseball more than life. And so he had a Christmas filled with baseball cards and games and jerseys, and it was a memorable one for all of us.
That's very cool. I've got to ask, what's the favorite jersey?
I think the Ronald Acuna. He asked for several jerseys. He asked for Julio Rodriguez, and he asked for Adley Rutschman. He got all three of them. He had a Juan Soto, Padres, and then he was traded to the Yankees between the time of purchase and Christmas. So that one was taken back, and he never knew.
So, Chris, I want to jump into college football. And tonight, right after this show, we've got Texas A&M versus Oklahoma State down in Houston, and that is renewing an old rivalry in the Big 12. Go on ahead and give us your take on that game, Texas A&M versus Okie State.
You know, we did a preview on this about a week ago, and I think we never published it because really it's Oklahoma State versus the rotting corpse of Jimbo Fisher's Texas A&M team. I mean, so many guys gone on both sides of the ball, and not just guys, but key guys. I mean, God help. It's almost like trying to handicap an NFL exhibition game. You've got people wearing Cowboys jerseys, and you got people wearing Chiefs jerseys, but it's not really the same. And so that's kind of where we are with this one. Oklahoma State wasn't very good this year. It was more of a top 40-ish team than a top 25 team, which I think was where it's ranked in the playoff rankings. But when you get to bowl games, it's who's available and who this means something to. And I think Oklahoma State is a slight underdog, but I think they win this game just because of all that other stuff.
Chris, we were talking about before we went to the break about the Ole Miss Penn State game. And do you think that Lane Kiffin, if he gets the opportunity to run it up on James Franklin and Penn State, I think that he will, just to kind of get the attention of voters for next season. Your thoughts on that game?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm sure he would like to, but let's look at some of the stuff that Penn State did here. 11.4 points a game, 3.9 yards a snap. And here's an amazing stat. I mean, you don't see many defenses that do this. They allowed under 4 yards of play. That almost never happens. They forced turnovers 3.5% of the snaps.
Wow.
That's like anything over 2.5 is pretty elite based on just my couple of years of tracking it. And so, yeah, I'm sure Lane Kiffin would like to do that. But this defense, and look, how much of that is the Big Ten not being good offensively? How much of that is the Big Ten being really good defensively? I don't know. You had several defenses in this league that put up huge numbers, but you also had them going against Iowa and other offenses like that. So I think this is a fascinating matchup because I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, and I haven't checked it in a couple of days, I don't think either team, relatively speaking, lost a lot of key guys to the portal or to opt-outs for the draft. And I mean, this is a strength on strength matchup when Ole Miss has got the ball. I think the more that I think about it, there's a case that this is the best bowl matchup out there.
So, Chris, I do want to talk about another team right there in the state of Tennessee. You just mentioned them, Iowa versus Tennessee. And to me, this game comes down to which Joe Milton shows up. Your thoughts on Iowa, Tennessee?
Well, the problem, and this is very recent, is Joe Milton isn't showing up. Okay. He's opted out of the bowl game. Nico Iamaleava is their quarterback. That's a very late development. So I'm guessing most of your audience hasn't even heard that yet. So again, we talked about Ole Miss and Penn State. This is kind of an Ole Miss and Penn State light game. How does Nico Iamaleava do? I mean, his first real action, he's just played as a mop-up guy in bowl games. His coach, Josh Heupel, has said that the reason he didn't play more was because he basically, in so many words, didn't trust the offensive line to protect him.
Right.
Now he's going up against a team in Iowa that was 4.0 yards of play. Again, one of the top 5 probably numbers in the country. So this is a team that can really get after you defensively. I think suddenly this is a fascinating game because it is a lot of unknowns. Iowa can't score on the 3 of us, but it didn't give up a lot of points either. I mean, you score 16.6 points a game, but you go 10-3. And that says to me a lot about being opportunistic and getting stops. And that's what Iowa did all season. This game to me just got a lot more interesting in the last 24 hours based on that quarterback situation.
Chris, one of the fun things about that Iowa team, they had more punting yards on the season than total offense. Yeah. How many times has that happened? That is crazy to find out. They had more punting yards than total offense this season.
Yeah, and did you guys watch the Nebraska game? One of the all-time Thanksgiving weekend classics with the 2 dudes wearing the punt sweatshirt. I mean, that was just one of the funniest moments of the season.
Yes. So, Chris, I do want to ask you, now let's go to the playoffs. Let's look at the one side of the bracket, Alabama and Michigan in the Rose Bowl. Dude, I'm going to tell you what. If Michigan cannot run the ball to set up the pass, it's going to be a long 3.5 hours for Michigan. How do you see that football game playing out? Because I'm going to tell you what. I got to lean Alabama here.
This one is fascinating. I look at numbers, and all the numbers suggest that Michigan is the better team. I'm looking at the computers. Sagarin, FPI have Michigan a 3-point favorite. SP Plus has Michigan by 8. Team Rankings has Michigan by 6. I watched Alabama this year. I think Nick Saban might be the coach of the year in the country, but it wasn't the same Alabama team for the reasons we all know. And you saw it in the Auburn game where I don't want to disrespect Alabama by saying they were lucky to win, but we all watched it. That could have easily gone a different way in the last 30 seconds than it went. Michigan statistically has just been so good. Defense averaging under 10 points a game given up. When's the last time we saw a defense that did that? Again, it's the Big Ten, and it's also the fact that Michigan played the worst part of the Big Ten in terms of the schedule, I think. But Alabama gave up 43 sacks, and granted, a lot of that was early in the year. Everything numerically points to Michigan in this one.
Yes.
But you've got the fact that Alabama played for its life for every week from week 2 on and got here by running the table against a really good league. And then you've got the Harbaugh situation with just one distraction after another, including the ones that have come up in the last week or two. You've got to think that guy's got one foot out the door to try to get to the NFL.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I picked Michigan, which probably means Alabama's going to win.
Yes. So, Chris, look, man, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to join us. And if you would, go on ahead and let everybody else know where they can look at your stuff on social media.
Yeah, our YouTube channel is Southeastern 14. The name is going to be changing soon. We've got a couple ideas we're kicking around. We were going to go with Southeastern 16, but we're not sure about that now. But if you search Southeastern 14 for now, you'll find us. We cover football, basketball, and baseball in the SEC wall to wall. So I think if you like your one-stop news outlet for all three of those, you'll love what we do. And you can also get it on podcasts wherever you get your podcasts.
Chris, have a wonderful New Year's weekend and don't do anything too crazy, my friend.
Happy New Year, guys.
Yes.
Take care, Chris.
We'll try to catch up next week and talk about college basketball.
You bet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Heath, when we come back on the Stingray Show, we are going to be joined by Olin Buchanan of TexAgs Radio to talk about the Texas A&M Oklahoma State game. That's on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Stingray Show. We will be right back. It's time to get into the Christmas spirit, ladies and gentlemen, and how would you like to try the Blitzen, which is caramel cookie butter hot chocolate, a peppermint bark latte with white chocolate and peppermint, or a gingerbread latte? Those are some of the brand new flavors that Strange Brew Coffee House is bringing out with the Christmas spirit right now at the Strip at the University of Alabama campus. Go by there and see them today and get all of the festivities of the Christmas spirit. Since 1970, Jack Mack Tire has served customers throughout Tuscaloosa, Northport, and surrounding areas. Their car service ranges from maintenance such as oil changes to repairs of brakes, shocks, car batteries, and wheel alignment. They are open Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. right here in Tuscaloosa. Go by and check them out today at 2107 9th Street in downtown Tuscaloosa. Are you guys craving pasta this evening for dinner? Then hey, you're in luck. Pyro's has a brand new fan favorite menu item, Pyro's Pasta. Yep, you heard me correct. The new pasta comes tossed in a rich white cheddar cheese sauce and can be topped any way you like it. With pizzas, salads, frittatas, and now pasta, Pyros is bringing even more tastes to the table, offering something everyone can enjoy. And don't forget, Pyros gift cards make great Christmas presents in the stocking stuffer. The Alabama Crimson Tide football team is back in the playoffs on Monday evening. Hey, that's New Year's Day. And if you need quality food for your get-together for that game, look no further than South's Finest Meats right here in Tuscaloosa. They have amazing deals going on right now on catfish fillets, as well as crab clusters, tilapia fillets, and of course, red and raw shrimp. You can find them at 3201 10th Avenue right here in Tuscaloosa. Hey, South's Finest Meats wants to tell you a big roll tide and wish you a very happy and prosperous new year. Welcome back inside the Stingray Show. Hope all is well with you guys out there. And Heath, let's go on ahead and do it, because we always enjoy doing it and having a discussion. Would you like to know on December the 27th what the National Day of today is?
National Put Your Neighbor in the Face Day. I have no idea.
It is National Fruit Cake Day. That is the only thing on the docket for December the 27th. It's National Fruit Cake Day.
Okay. You know, if you get a chance to listen to Jimmy Buffett's Fruitcake, he had a whole album called Fruitcakes.
Yeah.
But one song in there, Fruitcakes, the title song, and named after the album as well. The album version is wonderful. Don't listen to anything else but the album version, because Jimmy goes on this rant at the beginning of the song talking about he doesn't want a 5-pound Nestle Crunch and an extra large cherry Coke for a quarter more. He doesn't want people thinking for him and stuff. And then he starts ranting about Junior Mints. He goes, "Where are Junior Mints?" It just makes me laugh every time I hear that song. But you can only hear that on the album version of the song. So if you hear it on like Spotify or so, make sure you get the album version of Fruitcakes. But as far as that, Stephen, I'm not a fruitcake fan unless it's the Jimmy Buffett song.
But I do want to go and give you a little bit of history about this, because I was reading over this last night. It's pretty interesting. Dating back to ancient Rome, one of the earliest known recipes for a fruitcake had pomegranate seeds, pine nuts, and raisins in it. Then in the Middle Ages, they added honey, spices, and preserved fruits. Now, in the 16th century, two achievements crystallized to make fruitcakes more affordable. Sugar from American colonies became abundant, and the high concentration of sugar could preserve the fruits. So back then, that's what really kind of paved the way for the fruitcakes today. Now, I will tell you that the mail order fruitcakes began in America in 1913, and I will also tell you that the majority of the American-made fruitcakes is alcohol-free, but if you go and eat them around the country, they are having a brandy and a licorice in them. So if you eat them anywhere else but America, you might get a little bit of a buzz due to the alcohol.
Wow, let's make jokes about people's, drunk aunt getting tipsy off the fruitcake.
Yes.
Oh, Aunt Betty, she didn't have 4 slices of fruitcake, so you know where she's at right now. Crazy.
Also, in 1935, and this is the last thing that I will say about the fruitcake, and then we'll move on, the expression nutty as a fruitcake was coined. The phrase came about from the result of excess nuts from Southern bakeries adding to their fruitcakes due to the access of cheap nuts. So in 1935, Southern America coined the phrase nutty as a fruitcake.
Well, there you go. Maybe we should change the name of the show to Cheap Nuts. the Cheap Nut Show.
Nah, I don't know about that, dude. So, Heath, looking at the other bowl games that we've got coming up in the SEC that we have not talked about yet, we've not talked about Kentucky or Clemson. We've not talked about the Auburn-Maryland game or LSU and Wisconsin. Out of those, which one is most intriguing to you? Because to me, Wisconsin and LSU without Jaden Daniels, that on Monday becomes a very interesting football game.
Yeah, I think I'm looking forward most to Clemson, Kentucky. And that game could be a blowout either way. Kentucky finished the season so strong, beating Louisville, kind of manhandling them. I mean, I think they scored, 38 points against Louisville. And
they did.
Louisville won their division and played in their conference championship game against Florida State. But Kentucky just really never got it going this year. And I was like, are they the team that gets it going after the season? I mean, of course they beat Louisville, but the SEC season was already over. Is this the team that Kentucky was supposed to be all year? And, I don't know. It's just something about Coach Brooks and his team, and he never takes a play off. He never takes a game off. So no matter if they're missing however many guys they might be missing for the bowl game due to injury or NFL holdouts or whatever, transfer portal, I really look forward to Kentucky just to see what they're going to bring to the table in this game. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what that's going to happen. Now, if they get blown out, 27 to, 10 or something, so be it. But, Clemson struggled all year. Kentucky never really got it going. I think one of these teams is going to show out. I really, really do. They might both show out and turn out to be a great ball game.
And Heath, I don't know if you know this or not, but last week it was announced down in LSU land in Baton Rouge that if Jim Harbaugh bolts for the NFL, the number one candidate that Michigan would be looking at is Brian Kelly. So that is an interesting storyline and a domino effect that could affect the SEC in the offseason if Jim Harbaugh does the middle finger salute to the college football and the NCAA and bolts for the NFL.
Stephen, think about this very quickly. Who would LSU go after? They'll have plenty of people, wanting that job. But who are some of the names that just jump out to you right off the bat? Who would be head coach at LSU if Brian Kelly makes that jump?
Mullen?
No.
I mean, I don't know why not. And Heath, before we go to break, did you happen to see what happened last night in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl?
I didn't, Stephen. I worked a little bit yesterday, squeezed in some extra stuff, and I came home and played with the kids with battle bots, remote control cars, and Marvel character figurines, and what do you call it? Synthetic sand, kinetic sand. Well, I don't even know. Those sensory boxes. Yeah, I did all that with my kids last night.
All right. Last night in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl, Kansas, as Jason Bean went off for 6 touchdowns to lead Kansas over UNLV 49-36. And unfortunately, at the end of the game, there was another scrum between the players.
This is kind of common in bowl games. I remember Memphis and BYU got into it, and whatever bowl game they played down in Miami where they're indoors where the Marlins play. I remember they got into a brawl. Mississippi State and Tulsa got into it.
Yeah.
Mississippi State and Illinois got into it. DeVito, the starting quarterback for the Giants, threw an interception on the last play of the game, and DeVito took a cheap shot at Martin Emerson, who's in the NFL playing for the Browns. That led to a brawl. I was like, just because you threw an interception on the last play of the game, a pick six, doesn't mean, you can start the brawl, little man. Right. But, it's kind of fun to see, some of this stuff. I mean, let's just face it, man. I mean, ball games are not what they used to be. Everybody wants to pretend that it's just a game that we get to reward the players and they're enjoying it. It's still football.
Yes.
And one side's upset because I just lost the last game I'm ever going to play. And, it's it is what it is. But yeah, that Eastern Michigan, South Alabama one, that still makes me giggle a little bit. What was that guy thinking to run out there and cheap shot a South Alabama player, and the Eastern Michigan player didn't even have his helmet on? The Eastern Michigan player is going to cheap shot a South Alabama player, didn't have his helmet on. I don't want to hear this guy cry about they roughed me up, they punched me in the head. You know, I don't want to hear it. You played a stupid game and you won a very big stupid prize. Go wear that, stupid.
So Heath, on that note, we got to take our final break, and when we come back, we are going to be joined by Olin Buchanan of Texags Radio to talk about the Texags game this evening between Texas A&M and Oklahoma State. That's on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Stingray Show. Be back in a flash.
Weekday mornings at 6 a.m. The Martin Houston Show.
Join the Martin Houston Show for a Thursday edition of the program. It's the Martin Houston Show powered by Max Sports. We'll have a true false. We'll also look at Alabama and what they're going to be doing and focusing on in the next couple of days as they prepare to take down the Michigan Wolverines. It's two blue bloods. Which one will be headed to play Washington and Texas? We'll talk about it right here on your home for Alabama Sports, Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC.
Catch the Martin Houston Show from 6 to 7 weekday mornings on Tide 100.9.
The Alabama Crimson Tide football team is back in the playoffs on Monday evening. Hey, that's New Year's Day, and if you need quality food for your get-together for that game, look no further than South's Finest Meats right here in Tuscaloosa. They have amazing deals going on right now on catfish fillets, as well as crab clusters, tilapia fillets, and of course, red and raw shrimp. You can find them at 3201 10th Avenue right here in Tuscaloosa. Hey, South's Finest Meats wants to tell you a big roll tide and wish you a very happy and prosperous new year. Since 1970, Jack Mack Tire has served customers throughout Tuscaloosa, Northport, and surrounding areas. Their car service ranges from maintenance such as oil changes to repairs of brakes, shocks, car batteries, and wheel alignment. They are open Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. right here in Tuscaloosa. Go by and check them out today at 2107 9th Street in downtown Tuscaloosa. It's time to get into the Christmas spirit, ladies and gentlemen, and how would you like to try the Blitzen, which is caramel cookie butter hot chocolate, a peppermint bark latte with white chocolate and peppermint, or a gingerbread latte? Those are some of the brand new flavors that Strange Brew Coffee House is bringing out with the Christmas spirit right now at the Strip at the University of Alabama campus. Go by there and see them today and get all of the festivities of the Christmas spirit. Do you guys dream about owning a home or a condominium down on the beautiful beaches of Alabama, say Orange Beach, Gulf Shores, or maybe even Fairhope? Then let me tell you about First Class Real Estate South Home Group's owner, Celeste Hagler. She has brokers down there in the beautiful beaches of Alabama to help you purchase the home of your dreams and to live where you love in the state of Alabama. You can contact Celeste Hagler at 205-861-5698. Contact Celeste Hagler today to help you live where you love in the state of Alabama. Welcome back inside of our final segment right here on the Stingray Show. And now we are about to get to our very special guest to help preview the Tax Act Texas Bowl that is this evening at 8 o'clock between Texas A&M and Oklahoma State. We are going to discuss it from the Texas A&M point of view, and to help us do that, we're going to bring back to the Stingray Show from TexAgs.com. Ladies and gentlemen, please help us welcome back to the Stingray Show, Mr. Olin Buchanan. Olin, how are you doing?
First of all, I'm blessed. We still go. It's just the Texas Bowl, but hey, man, we still get paid to go watch a bunch of great athletes play football and write about it, talk about it. You can't complain about that, you know. So living a charmed life, that's for sure.
So, Olin, I do have to ask you, going back to the Big 12, because Oklahoma State and Texas A&M were in the Big 12 together. Was there ever a rivalry between the Cowboys and the Aggies? Because I know that you guys don't like Texas and you don't like Oklahoma, but what is the relationship between Oklahoma State and Texas A&M?
I think it was okay. I mean, there were some great games between them. Look, there's not nearly the animosity that there is with Texas, of course. And, I could think the two fan bases could commiserate to a certain degree, always kind of overlooked by a larger state university that thinks they're better than you just because they're there, right? I'm not going to, nobody was holding hands and singing Kumbaya, though. You want to go out and, beat the Cowboys just like you want to beat everybody else, but obviously the animosity is not the same. I would think Auburn wants to beat Mississippi State, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And probably doesn't like them, but it's a whole lot different than playing Alabama for them, right? So
yes.
I think there was respect, there was some level of commiseration, but you still want to kick their butt.
So, Olin, when you look at the game in Houston, how do you see this game playing out? Because A&M has a lot of question marks with all of the transfers and the opt-outs.
Yeah, I don't know. Quite frankly, I'll say this. If you are gambling and putting a bet on this game, you need help. You need to call that 800 number or 900 number, whatever it is, and get some help. How can you put American currency on a game? You don't even know who's playing.
Yeah.
We don't know if everybody was playing, this would be a great matchup. Ollie Gordon, the nation's leading rusher, the Doak Walker award-winning running back going against the A&M defense that's in the top 20 against the run. Yeah, top 20 against the run. When McKinley Jackson, good old Mississippi boy, who's been great here, he's not playing. He's preparing for the NFL. Fidel Diggs is transferring to Syracuse. Edgerrin Cooper, All-American linebacker, consensus All-American linebacker this year. He's not playing. He's going into the draft. There's some others. I think A&M is going to have no more than 3 full-time starters on defense. And one of those, we're waiting, and one of those might be Shamar Turner, and we don't know if he's playing or not yet. That's probably going to be a game-time reveal. I don't even want to say decision. It's a reveal. So it's hard. A&M's going with a third-string quarterback. Of course, they have for 3 games. And it's done pretty well. But who's going to play receiver tonight? Anaya Smith, broken finger. He's out. Noah Thomas has got an injury. He's out. Evan Stewart's transferring to Ole Miss. So you're going to be down to walk-ons. Jaden Henderson, a transfer from Grand Valley State, who's played pretty well this year. And Moose Muhammad, a guy that I think was criminally underused by Jimbo Fisher.
Absolutely.
Hardly ever plays, but he scored 10 touchdowns, Yeah. And so you'll see more of him. But again, we're talking about a lot of times I'm thinking now who's going to be playing, especially on defense? Rylan Kennedy? Is it Kennedy? That kind of thing. So, what to expect? I don't know.
I'll let
expect it, I guess.
I remember asking you in preseason about Moose Muhammad, and I was reading all these articles of who the best receivers are going to be, and I'm like, Moose Muhammad was the best receiver on this team last year. He's surely got to be used this year. And you just said it. He was not used at all. And I'm like, how is that? The kid was dynamic.
Yeah.
And never touched the field or the ball.
You reckon that has anything to do with why there's going to be a new coach around here next year?
Pretty much.
What was the reasoning behind that?
I have it on good authority that Moose is returning and is going to play here next year, but would not have been had there not been a coaching change. He'd probably be in North Carolina Tar Heel. He's from Charlotte, I think. So, but let me tell you, the Aggies are dang glad to have him, especially for next year and for tonight, because when he plays, when he gets his opportunity, he's always been productive. I don't know what the disconnect was between he and Fisher, but there definitely was one.
Wow.
So, Olin, the final question that I have for you, switching sports. The Texas A&M Aggies basketball team sits here at 8-4 before we start conference play next week. How do you see this Aggie team shaking out in the SEC conference that starts next week?
Well, I think they're going to be very competitive, and I still think that they have a chance to be really good. I don't know how close you've been following them. They lost a close game to Houston, lost a close game on the road at Virginia, but they still lost.
Yes.
Right? So they've got, quote, good losses, but they still have. Now, a big part of that is Boots Radford, second best player. He's been sidelined most of the season with a severely bruised sternum. Makes it hard for him to breathe. And Julius Marble, who is one of the projected to be, if not their best inside player, their second best one, probably he was their best one last year. He hadn't played at all for some kind of issue that's off the court. So they've been about as good as Wade Taylor can be. If Wade Taylor is having a great game, they also lost to Florida Atlantic in a really close game. So again, the losses have been good, but they're still losses. So Buzz Williams' teams typically have gotten problems ironed out and then go on a roll in SEC play. They've been better in November, December this year than they've been in previous seasons. So that's encouraging, but they've got to get healthy. And I'm to the point now, you just got to figure if you get Julius Marble at all, you may not consider it a bonus, move on with him with the idea you're not going to have him. But if you get Boots Radford back playing consistently, then I think they can go on a roll and really do some good things and maybe challenge Tennessee and Arkansas and who else looks really good, in the SEC, Kentucky, of course, all the time. And maybe challenge those teams and be a factor in the race in March.
So, Olin, look, man, thank you again for taking time out of your schedule to join us. Enjoy Houston tonight as they are getting ready for the game right now. And, Olin, Happy New Year, and we will catch up in the new year to talk A&M basketball.
Happy New Year to you guys. And
always a pleasure, Olin.
See ya.
And Olin, let me also end with this. Gig 'em Aggies. Go get 'em.
America starts with A&M.
Yes, sir. So, Heath, that is going to wrap up another edition of the Stingray Show. We hope that you guys have thoroughly enjoyed it with Olin Buchanan and Chris Lee from Southeastern 14. When we come back tomorrow evening, we have a phenomenal guest for you guys to preview the Texas and Washington game. A Grammy-nominated comedian Bill Engvall will join us again on the Stingray Show. And Heath, let's go on ahead and do it together, my friend.
We are out.
See you guys tomorrow night right back here on the Stingray Show with Here's Your Sign, Mr. Bill Engvall. The Alabama Crimson Tide football